Identity of Achille Derozio as an Indian English poet of substance with reference to his poetry. First of all, let us know something about the poet. Henry Louis Vivian Derozio was born in on 18th April 1809 as per verification from the baptismal register of St. John's Church, which is situated at Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Road in Kolkata. And he was born in a house which was situated near Entally Padapukur, that is now Acharya J.C. Bose Road. Where the house stood, there is now a new building and its number is 155A. His father, Michael Derozio, was a Portuguese merchant. His mother, Sophia Johnson, was an English lady. Derozio was a brilliant student at Dharamtala Academy. He had won several medals with a discount on his merit. At the age of 14, he left his studies and joined Messrs. James Scott and Company as a clerk. Soon he left it. He came down to Tarapur, Munger in Bihar to his maternal uncle Sir Arthur, Sir Arthur Johnson's house to try his hands at indigo plantation. There, peaceful life of the upcountry station made strong appeals to his imagination, and he began writing poetry. He sent his poems to Dr. John Grant in Kolkata to be published in the Calcutta Gazette. While at Tarapur Munger, the country scenery, the mountains, the ripples of the river Ganges, and various other natural phenomena made a strong appeal to his inner feelings, and the emotions recollected in tranquillity began to spurt out as a wreath of songs from his pen. He sent his poetical contributions under the pseudonym Juvenis to the India Gazette, edited by Dr. John Grant. Apart from writing poetry, Derozio worked as sub-editor of the India Gazette and contributed regularly to the Bengal Annual, the Calcutta Magazine, the Kaleidoscope, the Indian Magazine, and a half dozen other journals. After forced resignation from the Hindu College, he had started the journal The East Indian. Let us note that Derozio joined the Hindu College in March 1826 as a professor of English literature and history. He established academic association, a debating club, with the consent of his students Krishna Mohan Banerjee, Ram Gopal Ghosh, Dakshinaranjan Mukherjee, Peri Chandra Mitra, Mahesh Chandra Ghosh, and Ramtanu Lahiri were among his 18 pupil friends. Now, identity of Derozio as an Indian. Henry Derozio happens to be the first Indian English poet. He deliberately chose to cast his lot with the Indians. Instead of singing praises to the empire, he chose to sing praise to Mother India. Looking far ahead of his time, he could visualize the future resurgent India in the eyes of his young pupils of the newly introduced English education system, of which he, like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, was an advocate. Just as Kipling was the spokesman of the empire, Derozio was the spokesman of the Bengal Renaissance. which had the seeds of the Indian national movement. Derozio's identity in his family was that of an affectionate son and a brother. His biographer, Thomas Edwards, has it that Derozio was deeply attached to Sophia, one of his two younger sisters, and there is a beautiful lyric entitled A Sister in Law for Thee that is addressed to Sophia. Another example of the poem, My Brother is to my brother in Scotland. It is addressed to his younger brother, Gilbert Ashmore, who was sent to Scotland for quality education. Derozio's identity of a reformer is well exemplified in his ballad The Fakir of Jangira, which is the longest poem written by Derozio. He was well acquainted with the Vedas and Upanishads and other Indian classical writings. It is evident from the notes attached by the poet to the above mentioned poem. The subject matter is sati ritual, which was a contemporary social issue. Another ballad, The Enchantress of the Cave, is related to yet another social evil, an obnoxious practice of witchcraft. It is unfortunate that Henry Derozio died prematurely at the age of 23. However, what is more tragic and unfortunate is that he has suffered neglect at the hands of the reviewers and critics. It is essentially the colonial perspective of the imperialists which refuses to recognize Derozio as an original poet in his own right despite his youth. It was extremely inconvenient for the champions of the Raj to acknowledge his identity, original powerful patriotic sonnets, and reformistic ideals as expressed in his ballad and lyrics. Unfortunately, even after the winding of the empire, he has not attained his rightful place as a poet precisely because even the Indian critics and readers continue to look at him through the myopic spectacles of the imperialists. Now, something about the objective of this presentation. Needless to say, Henry Derozio is well known in West Bengal as a poet, a teacher, a journalist, a friend, philosopher, and guide to young men. The city of Johor preserves his memory in a number of other ways. For instance, at the entrance of the Calcutta Hindu School and at Dharamtala stand, his booths stand. In the Frank Anthony School, Calcutta, his memory is honored by Derozio House. Presidency University, Kolkata's auditorium is named Derozio Hall. Derozio Setu has been constructed and maintained by CMDA, but quite juxtaposed is the scenario in the rest part of India. People of other states of the country are not or least familiar with the life and work of this great son of the soil. As I have observed, there is one sonnet to India, my native land, which is prescribed at intermediate level only in Bihar. Hence, I crave the need to popularize Henry Derozio all over India. The intellectuals, educationists, politicians, policymakers need choke out a strategy so that he gets right recognition at his own right place at the national level.